Yeah, what up, people? So, as you can see from the title, this video is about Pac versus Biggie. So, not too long ago, I saw an article on my Google News feed saying that Joe Rogan broke down the difference between Pac and Biggie. And so, down through the years, there's been this debate about who was the best or who particular, people preferred Pac, Biggie, whatever, whatever. So since this topic is still going on, I figure I'd put my 2 cents on it because nobody has really broken it down in the way that I think about it. So my thing is, I think a lot more people just simply connected to Pac more and related uh, with him and his struggle and what he talked about more than Biggie. You know, um, from different people from different backgrounds across different economic lines, people that have had to deal with one type of struggle or another, just simply related to Pac more and connected with his music more. You know, I think people also probably saw Pac as the more decent human being because he had all kind of songs where he tried to uplift people and where he talked about just kind of like where he was just showing love to people. He had Baby Don't Cry, a song dedicated to girls who have been raped. He had Keep Your Head Up, which was a song dedicated to young mothers struggling to raise their children alone in the ghetto in hard times with no help. You know, he had these type of songs, whereas Biggie had songs like Party and Bullshit. That's all niggas want to do. That's all. He was saying personally, that's all I think himself included wanted to do was just kind of, fuck around in life. He also had songs where he talked about he'd rather go to hell rather than heaven. He'd rather go to hell and be able to kick a bitch, rather than, going to heaven and sitting around singing all day, you know, um, was his idea of heaven. So I think, like I said, people saw Pac as the more decent human being. But for me personally, Pac just made slamming ass songs to me. When I think about songs like Thug Passion, um, Pain, you know, I mean, these type of songs just can't be touched. If you ask me, I mean, Thug Passion and songs like Still I Rise. The way him and the Outlaws rapped, and I know this was all the orchestration of Pac. The way they all fell in sync with each other, would fall in right behind each other, like the timing of it within a particular verse. You know, um, I think Pac was the first one that really started doing that. You know what I'm saying? And it was just so tight to me. And you know, songs like Pain that had the singing, had that R&B element in it, and had that beautiful, female singing in it. and the beginning of that song, that beautiful harmonizing that, I mean, that's all the different variations of things that Pac brought you in his music. And, with songs like that, like Pain, I used to wonder, like, damn, did Pac arrange that? Was that done like, at the request of him, at his instruction, or did somebody just put that track together and give it to him? It was already like, I don't know, but there was a theme of his music having that type of having that element in it, that singing and stuff like that. Like songs like Young G, or I think it's Young Niggas off of I think that's on the Me Against the World album. You know, he's a downest G like anybody knows. It's just you know. So anyway, that's what Pac brought to you. You know, um, some people try to say that Pac wasn't lyrical, and there's a quote out there from Most Def saying that he didn't have the mathematical flow that Biggie had. You know, I don't know exactly what that means. I guess it has something to do with a subsequent line didn't fall in line, or didn't fall in place with a previous line in a particular way that was particularly snappy, or whatever. It didn't just kind of like go together in a certain rhythm or something. Um, I don't know. I didn't care about that. But the way Pac rhymed his lines was pretty damn tight to me. He had one line on his song "My Block" on the Better Days album, where he say, "Hanging out, picking up games, sipping cheap liquor, gaming the hoochies open, I could get to sleep with the," you know, shit like that. You know what I mean? And it was tight to me. Songs like if I die tonight, you know, just pure poetic and straight lyrical. You know what I mean? If you want to say Pac wasn't lyrical in the way that Biggie was, you can also say that Biggie wasn't poetic in the way that Pac was, which a lot of us loved, Pac's poetry. Uh, Again, on Still I Rise, that's pure poetry. Somebody wake me up dreaming. I started from a seat of seams, you know. It's just no comparison between him. I feel like, honestly, people saying Pac wasn't lyrical, I think really just hating. I just really think that's just really some hating shit. You know what I'm saying? They just gotta say something, like try to find something, because the nigga was just too good. I think he was just too good with the rap shit. I don't think nobody could hold a candle to him. He was the type of dude to where, again, to use Pain as an example, his homeboy Stretch, pretty much ripped that verse on Pain. Stretch ripped it. His verse was the middle verse, and then Pac came behind him and ripped it even more. You know what I'm saying? So it's shit like that, and just like with Bone Thugs, you know, um, Busy, Busy Bone rips the first verse. You know what I'm saying? and then Pac comes behind him and rips it up even more, in his own style, without like trying to change his style to kind of fit their style, anything like that. He just did his thing, and I mean, the dude was raw. He's raw. Saying to use Thug Passion again as another example. Uh, all 5, 6 outlaws that rapped ahead of him on the joint, every last one of them ripped their verse. They ripped that track. And then he came in on the end and ripped it even more. You know what I mean? It's like, shit is crazy. So, um, to me, he just was just overall more creative, and um, just got volumes and volumes of songs that just, I mean, Pac is the only dude that got albums that you gonna listen to all the way through. You ain't gonna skip no more than once, for the most part, on a Pac album, maybe twice, you know. But other than that, you can listen to his albums all the way through, and every song is slamming, it's jamming, So, um, but Pac definitely was the more iconic one out of the two, between him and Biggie, because he had documentaries. There's one documentary where he's sitting on the couch with Richie Rich, and I forget who the other person is, and he just spitting knowledge. He just spitting knowledge to the young brothers. He talking about how niggas hate you when you ain't got shit. Then when you get something, they hate you because you got shit. And how that should be illegal. Pac was this kind of he was this kind of figure for us. You know what I mean? I can't say that Biggie was anywhere close to being that dude. Like I say, Pac just spitting knowledge at us. On his own documentaries and in interviews and everything. He was that kind of an exciting person and entertainer. And when you look at the whole thing, together, the whole entirety, besides, just the rap, you know, you gotta give it up to Pac. You gotta give it up to him, you know. Um, but I think one of the things that perpetuates this debate about Pac versus Biggie. So I had a white girl not too long ago. I had a white couple actually that I was around, and we got to talking about rap, old school, new school rap, and so of course I made my feelings known that I'm more of the old school. That's more my taste, and so white girl asked me Pac or Biggie, you know, and so she says, her preference is Biggie, which I didn't really understand at the time, but then later, as I thought about it a little bit more, I did understand it. And to me, what I realized is that, if you're a person that is more concerned with serious things like social justice and equality and, things of that nature, um, then you're probably going to be more leaning towards Pac, a preference towards Pac. But if you're a type of person that just you know um, you just into rap just for the sake of the genre and the cuteness of rap and some of the rhymes and you know um, that type of shit, you know, you're probably going to lean more towards Biggie, especially if you know, are a person from another race. If you are a person that's got any kind of um, big degree of patriotism, and you feel like Pac was kind of anti, you know, whatever, then of course you're gonna lean more towards Biggie, you know, because Biggie didn't concern himself with any of that. So, well, if a white person tells me that they have more of a preference for Biggie, you know, that's how I'm looking at it from here on out. Of course, you are, because, you know, for you, it's just kind of more about bullshit, you know, and that's not disrespecting any, you know, that's not meant to disrespect any white people who are, you know, fans of hip hop and you know, consider themselves hip hop heads and things of that nature. But if you just have a strong, clear, like, preference for Biggie, and you kind of just look at Pac like whatever, or just kind of feel whatever towards Pac, you know, that's how I gotta look at it. I gotta look at it like it's coming from that place. So, um, I think these are the the things that separate Pac and Biggie. You know, um, but last thing I want to say about it is that at the end of the day, Tupac and Biggie were initially close friends. You know, they had love with each other, they connected with each other, and they ran together for a while before things got ugly between them. And so, therefore, it don't really need to be any more debate or ideas of Pac versus Biggie. You know, because the way I see it now is saying, you know, having this thing of Pac versus Biggie just looks like straight up pitting these two brothers that went down in tragedy against each other. You know, these both of these brothers were coming from a place of pain. You know, they both put their pain out there on the table, expressed it clearly for the world, for us, you know, the black community especially, to see, you know, and you know, to, I guess, you know, take that journey along with, and you know, their friendship fell apart. You know, some people even believe due to, you know, forces behind the scene conspiring and everything. And, you know, who can say whether that's true or not? You know, in this world now, what I know, I don't put nothing past nothing. So, um, you know, these two brothers, they both were great. You know, Biggie has some jamming songs too. I give it up to Biggie on something. I didn't like just the majority of his stuff. You know, I ain't gonna lie, but I mean, he had about 10 joints that, you know, yeah, that I definitely rock with. You know, so this is my take on the whole Pac versus Biggie thing. You know, they lived, they did what they did. They dead and gone now. You know, as far as there being any kind of competition between the two, let that rest and let these two brothers rest in peace. All right, with that said, I'm going to say peace.